Welcome to the Catholic Table Talk podcast. This is where everything Catholic is on the table. New episodes Thursdays at 9 a.m. Eastern on most podcast platforms. Here's your host, William Sauber.
Well, welcome back to another episode here, folks, at Catholic Table Talk podcast. This week, we will continue kind of where we laid off a few months ago. Notes that I took during Lent that really I try to strive for during Lent. And I think it's the key takeaways I took away from other podcasts and just what I feel like the Lord was calling me to write down and tell you today as well. If you have a show request, speaker request, please email us at catholictt@gmail.com. It's the official email at Catholic Table Talk Podcast. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, share the show, share this episode, and write a nice review where we get your podcast, most podcast platforms. Also, don't forget to comments. Like I said, this is a lot of stuff happening. We need comments because you might need clarification. So don't forget to do that. Also, today's show is brought to you by Dr. George Saguma. Dr. George is a family physician who practices holistic health and healing and believes that all we need to fix the world is to love one another. Lead with Love by Dr. George Saguma. Like we talked about last week, get this book, and this will help you with maybe probably your confusion, probably with politics, maybe, and whether with family. I guess we really talked about that last week. I just plugged it in now. So Dr. George, good friend of the show. Thank you very much, sir, for sponsoring this another episode here at the podcast. So, another week here in my makeshift bedroom studio. And again, we're talking about part 3, notes that I took during Lent. And I've not really been over these a ton, so, oh boy, this is going to be fun. So, I basically just read them, and then I kind of talk a little bit about maybe each one. Otherwise, I try going through them fast, because there is a lot per section. So, first one is, what do you do with fear? You don't run from it. You stare it down until you overcome it. And I'm not sure I can't remember. I didn't write down everything where I've got all these shows at, but all this content. But there's a few shows, and so. And there's one movie that really this stood out to me as well this past summer. It was Twisters. Glenn Powell, I really liked him, especially now after Twisters. It's a tornado movie, if people don't know, Twisters. But he's like, if you feel it, chase it. You don't run from your fear, you go right into it. So, of course, they're scared, but they're storm chasing. They're chasing tornadoes, right? And they're storming right into the path of the tornado. They're going right into the tornado. Of course, they're scared, but you don't run from your fear. You charge it. Same thing about this, about kind of my new job. I was kind of nervous and, having my issues about it with my doubts. But it's like you gotta, it's a little bit more higher up, I should say, a little bit more responsibility with this job. So I just ran towards it. I didn't walk away from it. Forgive your brothers 77 times, but don't count how many times you've forgiven them, because how many times they have forgiven you. So, like Jesus said, no, don't forgive them 7 times, but 77 times. And then you say, hey, brother Tim, he forgave me, but I forgave him 5 times. So, he owes me. No, it doesn't really work like that. Again, we don't keep track of how many times they have forgiven us, or we've forgiven them. It's you keep forgiving. Because again, does Jesus keep count? I mean, you go to confession, your sins are wiped away. They're in the past, done. Move on. Ask God to give you His mercy because we need it every day, right? We need His mercy. Jesus was both divine and human. He had a human heart, and he had to learn different languages. But he was God. But he still learned. He still was a man. So he learned different languages. Jesus is a new Moses. Moses turned the Nile from water to blood. Jesus, at the wedding feast, turned water into wine. Then at the Last Supper, he turned wine into his blood. So that's a good trail from the Old Testament to the New Testament. Moses turned the Nile from water to blood. Jesus turned water into wine. And then he turned the wine into his blood, which we still receive today at the Holy Eucharist. You can't love Mary too much. Many Protestants are like, yeah, that's an old saying. You Catholics always have that. But you can't. We should pray and ask her to go closer and trust her intercession to Jesus. And we're trusting Mary's intercession. That's actually one kind of a fruit of a mystery of the Rosary. Now again, Protestants, if you all come at me more, fine. Again, we talked about this with a priest and a guest, but leave that for the comments. But again, we can't love Mary too much because no matter how much we love Mary, Jesus loved her more. God doesn't speak to us directly a lot. We like him to, but he does it, right? A few people he does, but he speaks to us in different ways. So don't be, impatient if you don't hear God's voice talking to you, because a lot of people don't. This is why an examination of conscience is important to see how God worked in your life that day and every day. Don't be impatient with dryness of prayer, of failing to hear God's voice. Keep persevering. Ask God to send you suffering so you can... What? Did I read that right? Okay, you heard that right too, folks. Ask God to send you suffering so you can lift it up for others and bring more souls to heaven. Because many souls are going to hell because no one is there to pray for them, make sacrifices for them, according to Mother Mary. So make sure you do that. No matter what happens in your life, keep persevering. I have that in capital letters. I mean, that should be almost on a wall someplace, right? Move this TV out of the way and put that in. Or put that on the TV. No matter what happens in your life, keep persevering to find Christ. Like I talked about last week, persevering through confusion and chaos is difficult, but Jesus is the truth, the life, and the way. Or maybe not that order, but you know what, I'm close. Okay, pray for the patient desire. That is difficult times. You have the patience to trust God and to walk through it instead of looking for a way out. Find the easy way out. It's not always the best way out. We are by faith and not by sight. Jesus did many great things that people believed in him, but we do have faith in God because we have seen him work miracles in our life, or because do we have faith in God because we have seen him work miracles in our life, or do we have faith in God even when we don't see him at work, knowing that he has our lives in his hands? That's a great reflection question tonight before you fall, maybe go to bed. Jesus was Mary's only child. St. Jerome proves it. St. Jerome was very crucial of this topic. A lot of people back in his day were saying Jesus had many brothers and sisters, which again, Protestants to this day still believe that. I think quite a few of them do, but he didn't. What is meant by brothers and sisters is Jesus is meant by other friends or other family members, like cousins, second cousins, the whole shebang. we are all brothers and sisters in Christ. That's what I think everyone forgets about. When we go to church, when we see people there, they are our family. We are united through the Eucharist. We are a family. We're not just some Greg and Jen who lives down from Greg and Bob, or Greg and Jan. But we are family. We are all brothers and sisters in Christ. So why is it weird that they say his brothers and sisters? Because at the end of the day, his disciples were like brothers to him. And they followed Jesus. Jesus filled 12 baskets of food like the 12 tribes of Israel. Then he filled more for the Gentiles, which means food. His body is for everyone who believes in him. So let me say that again. Jesus filled 12 baskets for the 12 tribes of Israel. A lot of people know that. Then he filled more for the Gentiles, which means food, his body. That is for everyone who believes. We Psalm 107 and Numbers chapter 4, verse 25. See how God is merciful. At least I think it said chapter 24. See how God is merciful and to the least who are sinful. So, see how God works through the leastless who are sinful. Mary showed humility and trust in God by saying yes to being the mother of God. Mary is seen as the mother of the Catholic Church. That's why I say, Mary, mother of the Church, pray for us. If God is telling you to go to confession day, or you haven't gone in a while, and your life is a mess right now, don't hesitate to go and turn your life back over to God. That's a good take. When people say they want their fallen family member back into the church, that is a low goal because they need to have a relationship with Jesus. You can't turn your family member back to the church if you yourself don't believe in Christ, or maybe you don't have a really great relationship. If you're in a state of moral sin, like I just mentioned, not going to confession, whatever, receiving Eucharist in the same moral sin, then that's out of the question. Jesus is not going. It's not you who turns them around. It's Jesus. So Jesus and the church, not just come back to the church, pray about it like your life depends on it. So, and again, don't say, even if you're, say, grace, your relationship with Jesus, the church, if you say, come back to church, we'll straighten you out, it's probably not going to really happen. But you should really pray about it like your life depends on it. Still invite them to church, but don't have that ego or mindset of, well, they come to church one time, I know they're going to love Father Rick's homily. I know it. Because I do. Well, maybe they don't. Okay, so a few more here. Pray to be like a saint. Most importantly, maybe, pray to be like Saint Joseph. To hear God's voice and to act on it. And to be a servant of God the way that he was. Saint Joseph, terror demons, pray for us. I do have a Saint Joseph of terror demons in my office at work. Read Psalm 120 when you are in distress. So you got Psalm 107 and Numbers chapter 24, 25. If not, maybe you can find it, but I think it's chapter 4, verse 25. And we Psalm, because I just wrote down 24/25 and I write it down. So I'm hoping it's chapter 24, but you'll find it. You might Google it, but 107 and 24 verse 25. We'll go with that. And Psalm 120 when you're in distress. So when you're sinful, when you're rock bottom, when you're just life has not been good. Read those. We should have respect for Jesus in the Holy Eucharist. Well, I mean, if we don't, that's kind of sin, first of all. But, I mean, also, that's the unity, that's the center of the Christian life. That's one of the big reasons why we're Catholic, right? That's where we gain humility. When we respect and we come before Him in Holy Communion, when we come before Him in the Holy Communion line in awe about He is actually present, it's good to have some awe. Also, this is from Father Walkie, because I remember this quote. It's good to have baseball players for altar service. You never know when they might need to catch something or someone who is falling. So again, for any priest friends out there, Father, maybe you want to have some good baseball players serving, so they might catch something or someone. This has happened before. The devil hits us hard with temptations during Lent. Why? I mean, well, he hit Jesus hard, right? When Jesus after the desert, we hit him right before it. And Lent's our about kind of straightening out our lives and making a path back to Jesus. But more during the Passion Tide and Holy Week, because that's the holiest time of the year. That's the best time of the year. That's the most, probably, maybe emotional time of the year. We invoke Him and stay on course through your fast, prayer, and renewal heart. When it gets close to Easter, double down and strip anything else that is keeping you from God. So you won't miss the joy on Easter Sunday morning. Because I've been there, and Easter just feels like a regular Mass to me. But I have also been there when Easter feels like a low taste of heaven. And the Mass is a low taste of heaven every single time. But you always hear, don't miss out on the joy of Christmas. Don't miss out on the joy of Easter. So, especially during Lent, but also Passion Tide, Holy Week, strip anything away that's keeping you from God. Lastly, for today, folks, the Last Supper has lots of Jewish roots. And this is a good book. I know it's out here in the house somewhere, but I don't have it in front of me. Is the Holy Eucharist and Jewish roots. I'll try to add that to the show down below. But and customs like having more than 10 but fewer than 20 for a meal. So you have, like Jesus at the Last Supper. He had more than 10, we had less than 20, and that was Jewish custom. Or something like, there's like 13 of them also. Also, he renews the old manna in the Old Testament with his body and blood. So the manna that came down from heaven, mic drop, at the Last Supper, that's his body and blood. So, again, just little notes that I kind of like, whoa, I gotta write that down so I remember them. And it's good that I'm going through them again, and it's good that hopefully that you're hearing them as well. So, that is part 3. We'll conclude next time with part 4. Remember, probably not going to be next show, but we'll get it on the schedule before the end of the year, hopefully. Until then, folks, stay in the state of grace. Go to the sacraments frequently. And again, if you have any questions or comments about today's show, or want to know maybe where I got them, again, I don't really know for sure which podcast where they came from, but I'll give you some good suggestions besides my own. Drop them down in the comments below, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Until next week, folks, God bless.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Catholic Table Talk podcast, where everything Catholic is on the table. Don't forget to subscribe to Catholic Table Talk on your favorite podcast platform to get new episodes delivered directly to you every Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern.